Wednesday 5, MK Dons 2. Now before kick-off, despite last week's 3-0 win against Morecambe, I'm seeing a lot of worry amongst Wednesday fans because I'm on Twitter now, you see. I'm on here, been on a few months, getting used to it. I'm down with kids, you see, know what I mean? And I'm seeing people worried about MK Dons. But I can't say I understood that, not just because they're down in relegation places and they've only won 8 games all season, but also because they're a footballing side. And that suits us. When teams come and shut up shop and they're just playing that way, they're tricky games. Teams that come and try and play a little bit of football, it suits us down to the ground, as we proved last season when they'd got a better side. So a lot of worry that I couldn't really understand before kick-off. And then it was almost consternation when teams were announced. Wednesday made 2 changes for the visit of MK Dons. Akinfenwa dropped out and was replaced left-sided centre-half by Reece James. And in the middle of defence, Aidan Flint dropped out and was replaced by Jack Hunt. That meant a little bit of a shuffle. Dominic Iorfa moving into the centre with Liam Palmer on the right. And Jack Hunt going to right wing-back spot in midfield. The full line-up then. Dawson in goal, back 3 of Palmer, Iorfa and James. Midfield from right to left, Hunt, Byers, Volks, Bannon and Johnson. And Smith and Windass continued at centre-forward. The visitors, it was a 4-2-3-1, come 4-3-3, coming in goal, back 4, Watson, Tucker, Jules and Harvey, Magoma and McEachran, I don't know how you see it, my old mate Bradley Johnson, and up front, Kekai, Leko and Asa. Isn't that one of them Japanese trees and plants? Why has he changed back 3? Oh, don't change the side these days. Plymouth don't change their side. Well, they do. They change it every week. They've made about 4 more changes today. They play Hardy and Cosgrove when they play Wednesday. So what is happening? There's a lot of games in a season. And in respect to, dropping Flint as it's been put, I prefer to see it as he's been rested. He's not played a lot of football. He's come straight in, hardly had a kick for Stoke. Come in, he's played a top-at-table clash against Plymouth, done brilliantly, and played since. We did that last season with Dean, Ali Dean. I don't know if you remember, he came in on loan. We were like, yeah, get him straight into the side. He'd hardly kicked a ball in anger. But competitive professional football is an higher level than just keeping yourself fit in gym. Do you know what I mean? And he broke down straight away. Darren Moores got an eye on that. We don't want that to happen. We've got 15 big games to come. This game, they've got 3 pacey players up front. It's they're not going to be slinging it into our box. They're a bit of a football inside. Flint's a beast in air, but he's not Linford Christie on floor, so why not change it? And at the same time, give him a little bit of a breather. Made perfect common sense to me. Same with Famayo. He's been out a long time. He's had that injury. He's missed nearly all 90% of the season so far, and then he's come in, playing games thick and fast. Give him a little breather. James can come in, give us that balance. This is on Darren Moore if we get battered today. Anyway, let's get on with game. Bizarre. Now, everyone who were panicking, they got what they were worried about after 2 minutes, didn't they? Wednesday made a promising start, got a corner within first 30 seconds, and probably the first time that MK Dons get any sort of ball, and that's an interception on another Wednesday attack. It's a little lob pass in centre circle, and that Jonathan Leko on Ayres is come inside off a wing, just goes straight at the heart of Wednesday and smashes a 25-yarder in. It's an absolutely top-class strike. Brilliant. Dawson given absolutely no chance. It's a great bit of individual play, and go, straight away. Well, this is what happens when you change back 3. Really? A 25-yarder? Sometimes I think you've just got to hold your hand up and say, nice one, that's a right spank, that's one, well done. Got ball, drove on, pull trigger. So it's a great strike. I'm not sure, genuinely, our defenders could do out there. Keeper couldn't do out there. So, we're a goal down after 2 minutes. But anyway, good. Spark Wednesday into gear. 7 minutes, Wednesday's first sort of strike at goal is a free kick from Windass. Iofa had won the ball, got forward, got tripped up, so it's a free kick outside box. And Windass stepped up, got a lot of whip on it, just wide at goalkeeper's right hand post. Although interestingly, right down up front at box, as that free kick's been taken, George Byers has just slipped his man, and he just sort of he gets one of them in neck, and he goes down, but you know. But he don't go down holding his face and trying to get I'm not bitter, I'm not. Eight minutes on clock, Wednesday level. Little ball across from my offer into Reece. Yeah, he has a touch. It's an absolutely fantastic ball. That you can tell he's played midfield before with the quality of that pass. He puts it up, and the drop on it, Tucker goes up for head, and it drops right over his head, even though he's up on. Windass is in, and it's an absolutely fantastic first touch. Just takes it down with one, and then as it bobbles onto the floor, a lovely little weft with outside at boot, straight overcoming, absolutely no chance, 1-1. As you have a bit of a penalty shout, 11th minute, there's a little ball that's clipped into the box, and it's two hands. There's the 33, I think it's Jules, he actually knocks it with his arm, accidentally, but nevertheless, knocks it with his arm onto Bradley Johnson's arm, so it's like, it's two separate players' hands within space of 100th of a second. These are played in front of the line at referee, though. That's where you're relying on your linesman for out like that. Would have been harsh, but it was definitely a decent shout. Wednesday starting to control game, you know. They're having most at ball. Other than the shot, they've not been in our half since. Lovely little build-up down left. Bannon into Marvin Johnson, who puts him away with a nice little reverse back heel. Completely takes full back out of game. Baz clips one in. Michael Smith in middle. He's got to get it on target for me. He's got to get on target. So it's a lovely ball from Bannon. And really, he's at least got to test goalkeeper. You know, it's right in front of him. He's in there for his aerial prowess. Showed at Ipswich what he can do in there. And I think he'd be disappointed with that. Although I've got to be honest, he's had a good game today, Smith, and he's put himself about. He scored 2 goals, obviously. I think he's got a bad back. There's a way he's running. And just a couple of times, just looking at him after he's landed, I think he's got a bad back. I think he's got a back pull. Might be completely wrong, but as a bad back suffering me sen, I just think he's got a pull in his back. But anyway, I thought he should have done something with that header. 24 minutes, probably maybe only second or third time they've actually been in our half. They scored again. It comes from a Wednesday attack. They've got a goal kick. Keeper punts ball up. He gets headed up and up again. A little, 4 seconds of that tennis in there. And then Iofa goes up and he gets a bit of a loop header on it. Goes straight up in the air. Comes down, their lad takes it, good touch, drives on, and it's a good finish. He cuts inside, James comes across, he cuts inside, and again it's a really good finish. Don't give Dawson any chance. Terrific goal. They've scored 2 terrific goals actually individually, although not really offered anything other than those goals. I've seen it described as crap defending. The initial header's not good, but then the initial header in midfield's not good, but the initial header from Dom's not good. Their lad gets away. Reece James can get there quicker. Can he? He actually does get there really quick. The problem is, Dominic Iofa's that quick. When he sees his mistake, he's got that recovery pace, he's piling back, and him and James, they sort of run into each other, which just buys that kid a fraction of a second to nudge ball to the side and get his shot away. I don't think there's any lack of will of trying there. It's a little bit of good play and a little bit unfortunate, and that's how I see it, unfortunate. But it is. Listen, these mistakes happen in football. I'm not going to deride the manager for changing it back three because of these goals that we've conceded. One's a wonder goal, one's a little bit sloppy, but that happens, you know. The best Wednesday team I've ever seen in my entire life were capable of things like this.
Teeing up Robson, Brian Robson can make it 2-1. He's still got a chance. Oh, it's going into the net, is it? What an extraordinary mess. It's 2-1 to Manchester United, and have you ever seen a sloppier goal than that?
And they were the most gifted set of footballers I've ever seen. Would concede a goal like that. It happens, that's football. Sometimes it happens. Kind of these meltdowns of wanting to pick on players individually. I mean, I had some murmurs at half time. It's poor, to be honest, that attitude. Mistakes happen. Other day, I'm round at my father's. I'm having a cup of tea. He's washing pots and he's looking wistfully out at window with hands in wishing up bowl. And he just suddenly went, poor old Jerry Young. Because it happens. Sometimes people make a little mistake, even great players. Can't get on their backs all the time. 28, another decent opportunity. Windass sort of toes it right. He can't get his foot right round it, and he sort of toes it into the ground. But it comes from something we've seen so much of this season. Another marauding run by Liam Palmer, just flying that left hand side, puts a really good delivery into the box. And that could be 2-2. It's just an half turn with Windass, and he can't get his full knuckle on it. But like I said, it's wave after wave. Wednesday, they've probably been genuinely in our half, 3 times, and scored 2. 35 minutes, wonderful bit of play. There's a little 1-2 down the right side. George Byers is going down towards corner flag in front at North. Lovely bit of footwork. Manages to flick ball between 2 players, between Tucker and Hardy. Brilliant play. Hardy just comes round and just gives him one of them in Joe. You know, Byers goes down. But linesmen can't see them from 2 yards away, can they? Only 45 through 11 players. 41 minutes. Wednesday nearly back in it. George Byers inside to the right position. He's a little 1-2 with Hunt, and then he just clips a perfect ball in. And Liam Palmer again. I mean, he's right sided centre half here, Liam Palmer, by the way, but Liam Palmer in their box again. Lovely little clip ball in from Byers. Palmer takes it down, and he actually does a little flick, lifts it past man, and then volleys it. It's defender, and it's top at bar and goes out other side. Brilliant bit of play from Byers and Palmer. Despite being really all Wednesday, they do get into our half for maybe a third or fourth time in half. It's a loose ball by Volks, but James plays ball into him, plays a loose ball, and they break at pace. They've got these 3 lads up top, very quick. They're on counter. He drives towards box. Wednesday do well to keep the shape, but as he draws challengers towards him, he just rolls ball out to 24, Lyko, I think he's called. And he drills it wide. From their point of view, he's got to bury that. He's got to bury that. And at 3-1, it's a very different game. You know, they've only had these 3 attacks, but that's all it can take sometimes. He's got to bury that. It's from my point of view, it's a terrible hit from there, lad. See, before the game, I'd read a comment last night. Josh McCracken, who's the captain down here, I believe, he was saying that they were going to come in and they were going to dominate the ball and this and that other. But despite the goals he got, either he were telling porkies and trying to, play that game, or he were the fantasies, because Wednesday went into half-time but had 71% at ball. We put loads of delivery into the box, and it was one of them games that he just weren't dropping. There was a chance for Smith to had the sort of half chance with Windass, couldn't quite get his foot around it. But Wednesday were putting delivery in there. 26 crosses into the box in first half. They didn't put any in. But they didn't actually get anywhere near our box other than goals. Well, actually, even then, one of them's 25 yards away in box then, wasn't he? Wednesday really come at it after break. They've dominated first half in terms of possession, but second half they just turned screw. They turned the tempo up. We're closing down more aggressively, closing down quicker. Probably 50 minutes we should take lead. We've had a corner. It bobbles about, pops out to Jack Hunt. He can hit that with his left foot. And honestly, it disappoints me when players don't. I know it's like, oh, I'm right-footed or whatever, but the way it comes down, just hit it. Honestly. And in a way, I think it's easier to hit stuff with your wrong foot sometimes. I do, because you've got one option with your bad foot, haven't you? Crack it. You know, with your good foot, you can sometimes get a bit too clever. Shall I chip it? Little bit of instep, little bit of swaz, maybe flick it with outside it. But when it's your bad foot, just crack it. And if he just cracked that with his left foot, I think he's probably got a chance at a goal there. But he tries to get his foot on it. It's a bit close into his body on his left hand side, but he tries to get his right foot round it, and he's so that it's a daisy cutter scuffer. But it actually works out well for Wednesday because it squeezes out to Smith on right hand side, and again, same as their lad Lako in first half. He's got a finish for Smith. Me there. He's 10 yards out. Just gets underneath it, lifts it over the bar. But Wednesday massively turning screw after break. It's 2-2, 53 minutes, long throw from Volks. I'm glad we scored from it because their left back went down wasting time. There was a challenge at box just before. It weren't him though. I think it was Iofa maybe and somebody else. But anyway, two players together, ball goes out for a throw. They've both sort of come together, but they're alright. Kid 2 yards away, just down on the floor, missing it. Anyway, he's off pitch. Bolts comes in, long throw into box. It gets knocked on, and I do actually feel for their right back. I think his name's Watson, because his arm goes up, and this is going to sound daft, but I think he puts his arm up to get it out of the way, which might sound stupid. But as it's coming over, it's coming down in front of him, and he's turning as well. Windass is behind him, and as it's coming and bouncing, I think he's moving his arm to try and get it away from the ball. But then as he turns behind him, it bounces up and hits his hand. And I felt a bit sorry for the lad. Maybe I'm a soft touch. I don't think that's any worse handball at all than the one in first half, which definitely were, because two players handballed it at the same time. But nevertheless, penalty to Wednesday. Feel sorry for their lad, but there we go. Smith steps up. It's a great pen. Great pen. Keeper goes right way, gets close to it, down to the right hand post, but saw this with a Smith penalty of a week. Loads of power. And that's the thing, as long as you've got the power on it, you've got a chance. It's accurate and it's hard and it's in back at net. 2-2. 60 minutes, Darren Moores makes a couple of substitutions, bring on Dennis Adeniran and Lee Gregory, and it was still 3-5-2, but it was ever so slight shift in the shape. So Dennis came onto the right wing, into the right wing back spot to replace Jack Hunt. Lee Gregory obviously coming on for the Volks, who's an holding midfield player, and that just meant a slight shuffle there. So instead of having Volks set as a deep line midfield player behind Bannon and Byers, it was Bannon and Byers with Windass in front of them, and Gregory joining Smith up top. So essentially bringing Gregory on a striker essentially replaced a defensive midfielder with an attacking midfielder in terms of the shape of the midfield. Now Wednesday had been on top anyway, piling on into the MK half, dominating the possession, but Darren Moores looked at it and he's made that change. We're well on top, we don't need an holding midfield player, we do need to try and get another goal, we do need to try and get out there and get the win. And so he's made that change, a positive change. Windass has dropped into that hole and he's caused them all sorts of problems all afternoon, both up front and in the hole. But now it's given as an extra dimension going forward, it's giving them more to think about at the back. And obviously Gregory, a different proposition again. 4 minutes later, Darren Moore will be delighted because both his subs, massive impact on the game here. Denner and he's come at right wing backs, but he's put 4 or 5 terrific deliveries in this afternoon actually, and he showed glimpses against Morecambe with some little bits, you know, not brilliant, but some bits there that you thought might be potential there. But he puts a terrific ball in. Smith gets his eyebrows on it. It goes over to the back, and Marvin Johnson, he comes flying in. It's a very tight angle, but some players will take that on. Do you know what I mean? Some players will just blaze that and get all the teammates, but got a little bit of awareness, comes out to him, just cuts it back. Gregory, absolute tapping. And as I said, Darren Moore, be delighted. 2 subs, impact straight away to give us a lead for the first time. It's a little bit of a delay on restart because Bradley Johnson's down, having a pop at 4th official, so you know, no changes there over years, has it? They have a little 2-minute spell after this, so I don't know if they think it's shit or bust or whatever. They have a little 2-minute spell where they move it ball about quite well, getting into our half. Liam Palmer produces an absolutely fantastic block. Their lad's cutting off the left hand side again onto his right foot, and Palmer just gets right across into him and makes a fantastic block, because as it's leaving his foot you can tell it's going on target. It's a fantastic block from Palmer, who's had a terrific game again. I'm saying that every week. I think I've said it every week of this season, because you are at your weakest when you've just scored a goal. That's when folks can switch off, but little half opportunity there and snuffed out by Palmer. 73rd minute, game's put to bed really. Barry Bannon inside left position, cuts inside a tackle. He's actually getting fouled by our old mate, and but as he's getting pulled back, he just manages to tow a little diagonal threaded ball through. Smith gets on end of it. He tries to make a yard to lose his man, but to be fair to the defender, he does quite well. He don't fall for it. But as it is, that backfires on him, because Smith hits shot. It hits the lad, goes right up in air, drops off at keeper. He can do naught about it. And defenders he's got that. He's one of them where you can't win. You know what I mean? If he chucks himself in, he probably gives a penalty away. He tries to stand his man, gets blocking, and it just spuzzes over him. Remind me a little bit of Paul Parker against Germany that time. Oh God, I don't want to think about that one. We'd have beat them if we'd got to the final. Like I said, Dennis, a couple of little flashes of that against Morecambe as a right wing back. Not totally sold in it, but there were a few little bits. But today, great impact. And there's a bit again. Palmer's marauding forward. That's all I seem to say. Palmer marauding forward, plays a 1-2 with Dennis. Then plays another 1-2 with Dennis, and then plays another 1-2 with Dennis. Just them two, just going up pitch like that. Causing some real problems. That delivery gets hacked away, but they're causing some real problems down round side, Dennis and Palmer. 88th minute, Dreamland. Ball out to Marvin Johnson on left, who again, a player I think gets far too much stick, you know. Drives on 20 yards down pitch. I'm not getting involved with Twitter balls, but anyway, drives on down pitch. Fantastic cross, you know, gets his head up. I mean, some players will just get in that position, just smash one in. Do you know what I mean? Just smash a ball into the box, get an end of that. Not really, but he's got his head up. And he's having a look. Both lads up top have made a run, but his marker's in it, and he just sees George coming in, and he just waits that fraction of a second and waits, and then he puts what I call a flipper in, just over the top of everybody. Where's that going? George comes in, head into the floor, back at net. Absolute brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. Great play by Johnson on wing. Desire from Byers to get it boxed, because at 4-2, very easy to just, you know, stand back and watch, and I'll just stay in and hold things in case Hope pops out, you know what I mean? But no, that drive and desire to get it boxed, make a third man, Lovely ball from Johnson, terrific cross, and a great downward header. That's what they always used to tell you to do when they were a kid, weren't it? Head it down, make it hard for the keeper. 5-2 to Wednesday. They were never in doubt. I've seen, like I said, I saw a lot of people before game. This could be banana skin and this sort of, and I never saw it that way. Even when we conceded them 2 goals, because with adult ball, we're totally comfortable. One's a mistake and one's a wonder strike, but they never really, for the supposed football side, never really causes any problems. They had bits of possession. They had a little bit of possession from maybe 30 minutes on till 35 minutes in first half, but never went anywhere with it. And we knew that would be the case, so I'm not sure what the panic were there. Obviously, when you concede the goals, it reinforces when people has got that, sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that, I'm a bit worried about today, and then as soon as you concede, I knew this had happened. But I was completely comfortable, even at 2-1 and even at 1-0. I was just like, meh, because I knew we'd win, because we completely controlled that game. First half, I've seen people saying it was a poor first half. We dominated that first half. I don't get it. The final ball might have been missing, but there were times in that first half when they got 9 and 10 men back in their own box. But we put loads of delivery in. It just wouldn't really sit. We had a couple of half chances that we might have done a little bit better with, but I don't think that first half is as horrific as people are making out. And I genuinely never felt any threat, even when we went in losing at break. The second half, we come out absolutely like a freight train at them. They were just weathering storm, and it would only ever a matter of time we were going to get back in it. And then 2 brilliant changes from manager, very positive, attack-minded wing-back rather than a defensive-minded wing-back. An absolute natural poacher brought back in up front. Used him sparingly because he's been badly, so good use of him. 5-2, and I can't say I'm totally surprised. I'd said yesterday I thought we'd win 3-0. No, that 5-2 is not 3-0, but it's still a win by 3 goals. I'm surprised folks have been so worried. I am, honestly. I thought it was a comprehensive and comfortable victory for us. Man of the match, I thought Windass were terrific today. 3 positions actually, because he worked his socks off up front. That goal he scored is top class. That is absolutely top class. It's a fantastic ball from James, but the way he takes it down and then that little lift, that's top draw. Did really well up front. When we brought subs on, he dropped back, he was playing in hole. Played really well there, linked things really well, and obviously that pace from deep can cause problems. And then even at end, when we brought Deli Bashir on and gave Skipper a rest, Windass sort of dropped back even further there, and he was doing defensive side at game when he had to, and cutting things up. A couple of times he popped up in front of back 4. So 3 positions really today. I think he excelled in all of them. I thought he looked really good, really busy, terrific work rate, which you always get from him. I thought he was fantastic. But again, I think Liam Palmer, he's been absolutely superb this season. Driving on it first half, driving on it second half, getting moves going. He looks really so accomplished on ball these days as well. He's got a natural calmness that I don't think he had as a young lad. Obviously, when he was a younger lad, he was playing out of position when he played at back, but that experience of doing it week after week now, and a bit of an elder statesman in squad, and you can see him getting into people and trying to get them going. Leads by example with way he pushes forward. I mean, an attack-minded centre half he's played today. He's had a great game, a great game. Palmer or Windass, it'd be one of them 2. I vote for Palmer every week. I'm going to give Windass just the quality of that finish. That was absolutely superb. Way took it down. Little flip over. And like I said, he's then gone on to playing Old, then he's gone and played a bit deeper, sort of in central midfield last 10 minutes. And he's give his all in all three sort of roles he's been asked to play today. And he's been good over a month as well. I'm taking that into account. And I don't think he's particularly got the plaudits he probably deserves for his record. What's that, his 13th at season? No. Right, let's have a look at some other results. Derby 2-0 winners at Charlton Athletic. McGoldrick and Cashin again. McGoldrick, you just can't stop, can he? He's 35-year-old, isn't he? Barnsley continue with their good run. 4-0 winners at Cheltenham. Norwood, Kane, Phillips and Williams were the goals here. And Ipswich getting back to winning ways, although hardly surprising against probably the worst team I've ever seen at this level of football, Forest Green. Double for Chaplin, another one for Broadhead and Ladapo. Plymouth Argyle though, table toppers before kick-off, 0-0 at home against Fleetwood Town. Wednesday obviously 5-2 winners against MK Dons today. And then down there at the bottom, Wycombe Wanderers a 1-0 win over Bolton, who've been in fine form and, as we know, smashed MK 5-0 themselves in last outing. And again, Lewis Wing, I think that's 3 he's got in the last 2 games, Wing there. 45 minutes plus 8. You know what's been going on for there. But anyway, let's see what that does to the table. So Wednesday back to the top of the table, 68 points, same points as Plymouth Argyle, but Wednesday of course with that superior goal difference, plus 11 on Plymouth. And we've got that game in hand. Ipswich's win means that they leapfrog Bolton Wanderers again, third place with 60 points, and Bolton's defeat at Wycombe means they're in fourth. Derby and Barnsley, despite wins, still 5th and 6th spot, same as last week. Tremendous runs actually that both those teams have had, only the odd blip in there, and yet it shows how tight this division is that they're still in 5th and 6th. Barnsley seem to have been 6th for most of the year. So Wednesday back to the top of the table, 5 more goals in the goal difference column, vital game time and minutes on the pitch for Adeniran and Gregory, eased back in there, and also important rest for Mayo and Flint, who played a lot of football after being out for so long. Cracking management, cracking result, a great Wednesday weekend. Enjoy the rest of it.